been trying to be good. Doesn't always work. But I've
You know
been
what
trying.
helps you be even better is
What?
having a Final Fantasy VI tea mug.
Ooh.
This helps you feel and be a lot better.
Have you played any of Final Fantasy VII Remake yet?
No, I've never played Final Fantasy VII like ever, so I don't want to
Okay.
play a remake. Have it be like my first
Have that be your
dive
first
into
go?
the content. Yeah, I'd rather play whatever the original version was. This way, I can be more objective in how the remake makes me feel.
Yeah. What about you, Z? Have you played the Final Fantasy Remake yet?
No, I've watched quite a few people doing it, but haven't
Yeah.
touched it. I was more of a Final Fantasy 8 and 10 player, though.
Oh, yeah. I love the ones where you're in a school. Which is Final Fantasy VIII. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be in a school. I'm going to train up. I'm going to use a gun that looks like a sword to kill everything.
Just run around and steal magic from everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Steal the cards. Oh, such a good game.
So I played Final Fantasy X. I
Yeah.
never played. I didn't play one in between. I fell so in love with Final Fantasy VI that I didn't want to play another Final Fantasy and build a emotional attachment to that because I felt like I'd be cheating.
Right.
This is how my brain works. I felt like I would be cheating on 6 if I played 7 and liked it.
I mean,
So
you
it's
would
like-
be.
Right. Well, Final Fantasy VI came out in 1994, and I
Yeah.
want to say Final Fantasy X was in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, it was
PlayStation
early
2.
2000s.
PS2, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that long. It might have been 10 years before I played another Final Fantasy game, and I've never played one after 10.
Yeah.
I didn't feel as strongly about Titus and all them as I did about Final Fantasy VI characters. But
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X was a pretty good game, all things considered.
I
I
think
know
7, the only thing I did was Chocobo Racing. And that was like it
Yeah.
for hours. That's it.
I played 15, and I actually know the guy who voiced Titus. I mean, not no, but like he used to be in bands. He used to be the drummer
So-
for a band called Foxygen.
So like you could give him the head nod and he'd give you the head nod back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how much yeah, he'd be like, what's up? And he'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
like,
Well,
alright.
at this point now, I've been out of that game for so long that he'd probably see me and be like, "Do I know you?" I was like, "Yeah, you slept on Gavin's couch like back in 2007 or 2012." He's like, "Oh yeah." But enough of that. Welcome to Planet Destiny Podcast episode number 236. Hi, my name's Dan Finity. I will be your host this evening. TBL is indisposed for tonight, but we have with us on our round table of experts. I'm going to call you experts. Is that fine?
No.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
We have Aura,
Hi, I'm back.
the long lost son.
Did you miss me?
I did.
Dude, shit. Hit pause, unlisten, gone. Hate this guy.
I missed you. I missed you dearly. It's good to have you back, bud.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we have new member in the early Tuesday time slot on our Twitch stream team, Zaraeleus. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yes?
Yep, you got it.
Hey, got it in one. We have Zaraeleus here. Welcome to the podcast, sir. Before we get much further into the news of the week, maybe introduce yourself to the audience, what you do on the channel each week, and what you're known for, what class you're running.
Okay. Zaraeleus, as you got it right. I'm a Bubble Titan, normally. I'm one of those. On the channel, for the most part, I do PvE stuff. I do a lot of pit carries if I can. If I can get a raid together here and there, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much PvP. I'll play it. I'm not well known for PvP. The only thing I do in PvP is shoulder charge people and then get hate mail. So
Sure.
that's,
As you do. So I'm
As you
guessing you're a Titan main.
yeah, I'm a Titan main, 100%.
Okay.
All about the Titan main. I've been a Titan main since Destiny 1 before Vault of Glass, so I've always
Gotcha.
been a Titan. Very exciting for me that they gave our bubble back to us.
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of letting Warlocks have all the fun.
Very cool. Yeah, and some of those strats are pretty cool. Are they dropping orbs anymore? Or dropping orbs
Nope,
still?
still broke.
Still
Still broken.
Still
That's
broke.
the
That
trade-off
patch is
again.
Tuesday. I think that's coming with the update Tuesday. I think.
Tuesday? Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I think that's this update or the one or the one coming soon. I believe they're fixing that. I thought I read it. I could have made that up. I may have made that up. It's been like that for me the past month.
Well, days bleed into meals. That's the only way I'm able to.
Now, jeez.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm able to tell time anymore. So here we are. Well, welcome to the team. Glad to have you. What was your first experience getting into Destiny? Where'd you initially find it?
So, it was a vanity issue is the reason why I started playing Destiny, believe it or not.
Okay.
I didn't play a lot of Halo. What I did was when I was in the Navy, we played a lot of Halo, but I didn't really care much for it. But PlayStations were only black at the time that I could find. So when the special white PlayStation came out, I was like, I want this PlayStation because it matched like all the stuff that I had at the time was mostly like white and the shelves were all bright and white. And so I was like, screw it, I'm buying this PlayStation. I didn't even know what Destiny was.
Right.
So I bought it and then a couple thousand hours later, here I am.
So you've got white walls behind you. I see at least one white guitar. There might be two. I can't see what's on the far side away from you.
Yeah.
He's got the white hood on top of it's a green DX Racer chair, painting the picture for those of you at home right now.
Machine? Yeah. And here, yeah, see, I still have it. Like, I just pulled the thing off. It still works.
That's awesome.
I pulled this thing apart and like redid the heat thermal paste so many times just to keep it running.
Oh my god.
I've had it since. And yeah. I don't know why. It's just such a stupid vain reason to buy a game, but
hey,
I like it.
So it
At
goes.
least you're honest.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I would have made something up, maybe.
It almost
It's like,
doesn't
I
it?
wanted a white PlayStation. The only one that existed was with Destiny, so here we are.
Sometimes that's how it works. And
what's really funny is now my setup is all black, like my computer and everything, and my wife wants all white peripherals and everything. So it's like, come back around. Let's see what the next thing that comes with a white mouse or something, and we end up in some other game. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is it still white or did it turn yellow like guitars do over time?
It's still white. It's very white.
Interesting.
Do you clean it?
Yeah, I clean it, like wipe it down. It's very white.
Pretty sure if I had a white PlayStation, it'd be black by now.
Yeah. Oh man.
I had the King's Fall one, but that one, something happened to the heat plate inside, and it just stopped working.
So you smashed it with your fists? Because of
no,
King's
it's
Fall?
like something inside of it got warped, it overheated, and it just stopped working one day. So I threw it in the garage and never used it again. That one was pretty too.
I'm sure.
Have you tried putting your T-shirt over it and blowing into it like a Nintendo cartridge? I can't be the only person who not only blew into a Nintendo cartridge, but also put their T-shirt over it and blew into it, right? Like that was the thing for. Is it just
that's
me
so
and
you
my
didn't
cousin?
get like dirt in your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd do
I'm the only
that.
person who did that, right? We all did that. Right?
Yeah, you would blow into the cartridge. You had to blow into the
You
cartridge.
dig around in like the cleaning stuff and look for rubbing alcohol and Q-tips, and you had like a special way you had to put the cartridge this side in
Oh
first.
yeah, after
and
a
then
seance
slam
and
it.
doing a dance on the bed. Yeah, 100%. The voodoo. The first
Every
voodoo
game
I
had their own
was on a Nintendo. Yeah, to get it to friggin' play. Absolutely.
Get a hold
Very good.
start while you turn it off, and then hit on while turning the switch.
Yeah,
It'll work.
yeah.
I promise.
Good.
I was in the Navy. Yes, I was in the Navy. I was a fire controlman.
Well, thank you for your service. What drew you to the Planet Destiny team?
I follow and have followed quite a few of you guys. Y'all seem fairly nice,
We try to be.
except for
That's all just a farce, man. It's an act for me.
for that Iceman guy. He's so mean.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
might be the nicest one out of all of us.
I know.
Could be.
He was super nice. But yeah, it's just a bunch of you guys. I've talked to some of you. I've played games with some of you before, and y'all seem fairly even keeled and people I can work with. So that's really all I look for. I'm not trying to be a crazy person. Just want to play games.
Well, that's the thing about being a crazy person. Sometimes you don't have to try. Sometimes you just are.
Different brand of crazy though.
Yeah,
I've been called a lot of things, but even keel is not one of them.
There's a first for everything. So
Hey, you must not go on Twitter on reset. You are even keeled, sir.
oh man, speaking
Fair
of,
enough.
so How was everybody's week in Destiny? What all did you play? Anybody jump into Iron Banner this week?
No.
Yeah?
No, I didn't play a single game of Iron Banner.
Okay.
Not one.
I did for the Pinnacles.
So,
Played a lot of Orbit Simulator,
okay.
where I mindlessly like drool while my ship is just floating for a few hours.
Okay.
By the way, anybody who messages me to play, I guarantee you I'm probably not at my computer when you message me and invite me to play games with you, and I get back 45 minutes later and you probably think I was ignoring you. But I wasn't. I was probably doing laundry or staring blankly at an Orbit screen. So.
All right. So UZ, you have as well?
Yeah, I did a bunch of Iron Banner. I was just getting my Pinnacles done. I'm trying to get to 1025 on all my characters for
Grandmasters coming up this week. So I played quite a bit of Iron Banner on Tuesday. Started on PC and just could not get a win. Could not. Ended up like we got error coded and couldn't get back into Steam crashed.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't get back into Destiny on PC, so we hopped over to PlayStation and started like swamping there. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that I'd do all the Pinnacles this week from Iron Banner to get to 1025. Turns out I think I'm there for the most part anyways, just with the artifact leveling pushing me up. But yeah, I don't know. Not having the quest to do to get the bow and just doing the bounties. Which one was the most punishing? It's always the most punishing one.
Abilities on a hunter.
I haven't done my hunter yet, actually. I was running...
It's all weapon kills, I believe.
Yeah, it was the Iron Confidence. That one is where you have to do final blows with any weapon. Earn bonus progress for energy weapons, power weapons, and opponents with a higher power level.
That one's rough. It's 250.
Right. It's 250 of them, and when you're already at like 1009, 1010, it's tough to like...
bonus.
Yeah, it's tough to do that.
There's
unless
nobody higher than you at that point, so it's a grind out on kills, and yeah, I think that
Yeah.
a lot of people have that same problem. I didn't play I didn't like not play Iron Banner for any particular reason. This is gonna come out like this is gonna sound so genius. It's crazy.
Okay.
I've been wanting to have fun playing Destiny the past month.
Okay.
So like I have not played Trials. I have not played Iron Banner. I have done silly things. So the friends I play with like almost every night, their new thing is everybody gets on a Titan and tries to kill each other in a Crucible match by
Right.
shoulder charging somebody into an object.
Yes.
Wall, off the map. So that's all we've done is go into quick plays a six stack and try to kill each other. And that's been really fun.
On the same team?
On the same team. We had 6 people, same team, and we're all shoulder charging Titans, and we just try to find dude like because how I play is so positionally important. I'll finally get myself in position to capitalize on an engagement, and then like one of my teammates will just shoulder charge me out into the open into like directly into line of fire of 5 opponents, and then it's just giddy laughing. Like we're just gonna farm aura every opportunity we get. So like that's it's been silly stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've just been wanting to have stupid silly fun with the game, and that's the only way I could find it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm purposefully avoiding Iron Banner. I don't need Pinnacles 1025 already because of Artifact. In fact, I'm higher than that because I actually grinded out bounties.
Yeah.
For like 2 weeks straight. So, no end game activities at all. Not even nightfalls, and not even raids, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a bummer. I've been having a lot of fun. Thursdays, Geo and I have been hopping in together.
I saw that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been pretty fun. Overall, we need to get you in on one. We need to get both of you guys in on one of those if you guys are into that. But yeah, so I've been playing Iron Banner, doing Pinnacle stuff. Really kind of scattershot this week though. Not really focusing on any one character, which I probably should have been, but it's just been kind of a weird week. Z, have you done any of the Pinnacles outside of Iron Banner?
Yeah, I got 2 raids done. I got some of my Master Nightmares done. I got a few things. I'm at 1008 base on 2 and then 1007 base on 1.
Okay.
So after Artifact, I'm like right at 1025. So that's been my whole focus, because if I do get a team together, I don't want to be the one that's like, oh, we can't launch.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I'm really bad about like half reading stuff, and I read that and I'm like 1025 is like bare minimum. Okay, all right, 1025 is the line. That's what I'm shooting for.
There we go.
But normally I'm the one who's like, oh, we'll just do it. It's fine. I've got a divinity, whatever, and then we'll go to load in. Like, oh, damn it. All right, I'll be back.
I'm the one that normally takes us to orbit on accident, so I understand that. I understand the plight. So yeah, let's talk about this coming week. We have two big things coming up. We have Grandmasters, which we learned about last week. Both of you weren't here. What are your thoughts on it so far?
Zeke ahead.
Oh, which part particularly?
How are you feeling about Grandmasters? Are you looking forward to them? What are your strats going in? We know the 8 that are coming
how
up.
I'm doing it. Okay. Yeah. I was like, the reward system seems odd, but
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it just because it's hard and I like hard stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy doing hard things. I'm a little leery that enough of the community's caught up to that point where there's going to be a big enough pool to actually get people together to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure like how that's going to work with the sniper nerf that they did this past season. Like, snipers are almost out for a strat for me. It'll probably be at least one person with a divinity. Always have an anarchy, like be able to just fire the anarchy. I'm a little confused because they didn't seem to elaborate too much. Maybe I missed it as to how the regen system works. Like, are we limited like a raid? We only get one regen each, or is there an amount of regens we get?
Are you talking about
like they're just
revives?
Basically told us that we were gonna have limited regens, but they didn't say what that meant. So
yeah, are you talking about revives?
So it's limited. I mean, I think you mean revives, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's limited revives. We don't know if there's a res token or if there's a timer. Who knows?
Right.
This is supposed to be for the hardcore community. This is so. I think the player pool for it is going to be relatively low because it's intended to be like that. This is for the top of the top. This is for the cream of the crop. This is for the best players that the PvE community really has to offer, despite the fact that there's not much of a reward system for it. I think Bungie's banking on the fact that the challenge itself is going to be what draws players to it.
Right.
And I'm geared up for it. I want to give it a shot. I want to see if I have what it takes to get it completed. The thing that gets me the most about it is that contest mode, when it was in, which is enabled, which contest mode means that if you're above 1025, you will not do any more damage. 1025 is the cutoff. That's your maximum power level. Anything above that's not going to matter whether damage you do or damage you take, not going to matter. So contest mode, when it was in Garden of Salvation, there were no modifiers to it, and it still kicked our ass. Like, Garden of Salvation contest mode was hard, right? And so now we're going to get that, and we're going to get modifiers on top of it.
Yeah.
And modifiers like have a way of pushing the way that you go about your approach to play the game. And you also have champions, which are literally telling you which weapon you have to use in order to take them down.
Yeah.
So my big concern with it is give us contest mode or give us crazy amounts of modifiers and champions, but giving us both is kind of like, all right, we're going to put you in an environment that's difficult to do, and you're going to be forced to use whatever the current meta weapons are that might be boring or that might be a detriment to your current playstyle. Like, I've been using Mountaintop Recluse since the sniper nerf for this whole season now.
Right.
And I'm kind of over, like, it's fun, it's great, it's neat, but I'm kind of over it. Like, I'm ready for new ways to engage in the PvE combat system. I don't like using Xenophage as a DPS strat. I don't like taking a weapon that literally can't do crit damage no matter where you land your shot and having to combine it with Divinity to do max DPS. It's a boring, non-skillful engagement system for me. I don't like it.
Right.
And I think your other max DPS weapon right now is Whisper. We're back to using Whisper.
Yep. Whisper is
again combined with Divinity to make a crit spot the size of a beach ball. So
yeah.
I want to give it a shot. I want to play through it. I like where Bungie's headed, but I'm not sure this is the proper execution that people are looking for, right? Like, like, challenge mode really did let you do whatever you wanted to do. These modifiers, these champions, that's going to take that right out. Off
they're sticking you in a lane and telling you to to solve the puzzle, maybe like one of a few, like a handful of ways rather than overall. The thing that we talked about this a little bit last week, and part of it was, does the Grandmasters overall, because from what we know of the rewards so far, having not played it yet, it kind of feels like a 2 token and a blue type situation, with like a guaranteed exotic. And we talked about last week, if the exotic was like masterworked and had like peak
max stats.
Yeah, max stats, then it would be fine. But so far it doesn't look like it's going to be that. So a lot of people are going to be doing this once and then probably done.
Right.
You need to do 4. There's 4 for the title, I think.
There's 8
for the title,
overall.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't
imagine they're
think
gonna
rotate,
make you
are
do
they?
all 8, but maybe I don't know.
Or-
I'm not sure.
No, there's 6, and there's 6 for the title. 1 introduced each week, and then if you believe Ginzor KR on Twitter, then the next 2 weeks you'd be able to pick from those 6 to complete it within the season.
I hope that's the case, because that was the other concern I had, was with the way the season lays out, they waited so long, which I get because they want us to level up. And I saw they cut the level back because nobody's anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Like on average, even the 1%ers are still sitting in the 25, 27 range.
I think it's because the climb for power level has had next to no meaning for a few seasons now. They're removing the value to it again this season, in the fact that the only place where it was really going to matter was your Grandmaster Nightfall. Now you're putting a cap on that. So like I grinded bounties for 2 weeks. It was just something to keep my mind off whatever was going on. Weapons bounties, and then the bunker, the throw the ball at the goalpost bounties. I could do like 5 or 6 bounties just on the moon, throwing the orbs at the thing by itself. So it gave me a little bit something to do where I could just shut my brain off and play the game. And that kind of thing, that, like, a lot of people don't like the fact that bounties have like too much value, and like, but for this particular season, given what's been going on around us, brainless play was kind of the what I think the community benefited, at least I benefited from, was being able to turn my brain off and just play the game. So I didn't mind it. But they took away power level mattering in Iron Banner by disabling the artifacts. The same thing with Charms of Osiris, right? So now anything above 1010 doesn't matter. Gear score, that is. And now they're putting the cap on Grandmaster Nightfalls, and I think everything else scales. Like, we could be 10 billion in Garden of Salvation, and we're still going to do max damage at whatever it was scaled to when it launched, right? So they're still trying to figure out where power level matters and how to make it all work in this ecosystem that they've created. So I don't fault them for it, but there's next to no value, and I think it's why you're not seeing a lot of people go. I think the highest I've seen is like 1040, 1035.
Yeah.
And that was before they had made it public that 1025 was going to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting thing that, of course, comes on the back of Guardian Games, a new seasonal event that is starting up this coming Tuesday and wrapping up 3 weeks from the day. It looks it's a competition between the classes with everybody able to. It looks like you're able to get like medallions. You're able to get them from different activities. You turn them in order to get higher score. There's going to be an exotic quest each week for each of the ghosts, and the heir apparent machine gun. That is the Colossus style machine gun from the Cabal Colossus machine gun that was kind of touted in the trailer earlier this season. Will be available from that as well. What are your thoughts overall? Am I missing anything from that? I don't think so.
I main all 3.
Yeah.
So is this something that is rewarded in total at the end, like the faction rallies were, or is this something that's rewarded along the way as you're turning in tokens to where you're earning this, this armor set where your class item is special, which, by the way, Warlock's class item is negligible, considering the fact that it's just a ring that goes on your arm. Like,
Yeah.
if you take into consideration the aesthetics of the Titan, I guess it's a sash,
Yeah.
and
Mark,
the
sash.
Hunter cape, wouldn't you think that the thing that would be equal to with Warlocks would be their robes, their chest piece and armor would kind of be what the class item?
Or like a belt or something.
Yeah, but I don't think you would
Yeah.
even see a belt depending on the chest piece. So it's like, we're like
Depends what the glowy is. Because some of the glowies, they're pretty projected.
Yeah.
maybe. But I spend so much time on this podcast absolutely shitting all over Warlocks, and this is the one time I'm like trying to have their side. Like, I'm actually on your side this time,
I mean,
Warlocks.
why?
Like, right? Like, isn't there something that's a little bit shady about the fact that like Hunters get this glorious cape, Titans get this sash, and you guys get a ring that goes on your forearm, like, or
Yeah.
your bicep.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I watched the trailer a few times trying to digest what was actually happening, and I didn't get very far. I don't really understand what's happening.
Yeah. It seems like
I could be wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the way I understand it, as we're playing, our colors are going to change on those items to tell us what place we're in. I don't know how live that is. I don't know if it's daily, but as I understand it, it's live.
Yeah.
So if like we're in second place and you take first, everything you're wearing that's gold, will turn gold, and then silver will turn bronze, will turn like they'll actually just change colors live. I'm not a Hunter main, so I'm one of the few people that are not upset right now because most of my Hunter friends thought they could just, show up and play for 15 minutes and be good because they outnumber everybody 2-1. So when Bungie announced that little nugget, that was different. I don't know how they're going to implement that. I have no idea how they're going to implement that. Yeah, it's kind of weird because you're punishing them for having more of them, but you kind of have to, otherwise they just win.
Yeah. You also have to take population into account on that regard too. Like with maybe not as many people playing. I mean, sure, the Hunter class outnumbers everyone, but how many of them are really going to show up for this?
Right. Well, the last active check, somebody threw some numbers at me and I crunched them. It was 49% on a daily, just one daily, very recent daily thing. 49% was Hunters.
Okay.
And then everyone else just kind of existed. And the other 51% was Titans and Warlocks mixed together. And that was like 21 Titans and 30 Warlocks, something like that.
Okay. So,
and that's mostly because Warlocks are, PvE gods. You just play a Warlock if you're playing PvE because you just throw down a well if you're in trouble and you stand there for eternity. So most people I know that Warlock are PvE players. Yeah. And they smartly play that way. They just drop a well or Reckoning. I mean, how many times have you gone into Reckoning carrying to do anything other than drop a well every single time you had to stand on the point? Like, I don't know what those numbers represent, but from the snapshot, it was 49% Hunters, and that was just one day.
That's awesome.
I like the idea behind lighthearted fun. I think it's a good idea to do. But when your classes are so far like outweighed, so like scaling it back, Hunters are also going to now have to work twice as hard to win.
Right. Yeah. You're penalizing them for having more of them, which is kind of sucky. But I mean, I don't know how to balance that. I don't have an answer. There's no good answer, right?
And what are we? Is like I don't understand what the true end game of it is. Like, what do we win? Is that class is not going to be the only one that gets access to this light machine gun, which. If they're the only light machine gun that's really any good right now is the Xenophage. All other light machine guns got neutered into eternity because of Gambit. Yeah, so like we're getting this cool gun. How effective is it going to be once we actually get our hands on it? Is that going to be worth the grind? And is this gonna cause us to disrupt our current playstyle to get it done, or is this going to be something that just gives us rewards based off playing the game? If I want to play Crucible all day, I'm just going to play Crucible all day and get rewards. Or are there going to be bounties in place where I'm going to have to go and kill 15 scored that are not in a lost sector on the Dreaming City, which I haven't landed on in 3 months? Like what are we actually going to have to do here? It would,
to me, if it's anything like, what we've experienced over the past like few months or like year, it would make sense to me that you'd have bounties that you turn in. It's not going to be in the background so much passively. You're going to have, I think, isn't the Verdant Forest a part of this as well?
I believe so.
Yeah. So you're gonna end up going back to the Verdant Forest.
I thought I saw that in the triumphs.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
So it's not
like you
passive.
said about the bounties before, where Bungie is making bounties count so much for XP. I think part of the reason for that is that I'm sure you remember the big AFK problem we had back before Shadowkeep came out. It was massive. It was horrible. Like every match you played, you had at least half the team was AFK because there was no reason to actually play any activities. So by switching everything over to bounty incentives, it forced people to participate more, because I haven't seen it nearly as much.
Right.
Ever since XP became a big thing based on bounties and not so much activities, people actually play the game again. So I'm hoping that that's something that we're not going to have to deal with, because if you just get a reward for showing up, AFK is going to go through the roof again.
Yeah.
It's just going to be AFK macroing again.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know if I like the Verdant Forest is all fine and good for like a couple of runs.
So boring.
And then I think my it's not ADHD, but like my motivation to continuously run through the same activity starts to deteriorate
Yeah.
as I'm doing it, let alone something. Now this content itself is a few years old, a year old, but we've only had access to it a couple of times. But that doesn't mean that I want to jump right back into the Infinite Forest again. I don't know if that's really how I want to spend my time, if that's what I'm going to think is fun. Like this week, yesterday, I spent a good chunk of time in the menagerie farming different rolls of Erentils just to try out different things with fusion rifles, because it's kind of my shtick.
Right.
And I had a good time doing that, but it's the first time I'd done it in forever. And I didn't want to do it today, right? I did one day of that, and that was kind of my breaking point.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it's going to be the same thing with this event, or if I'm even going to care.
I don't know. It really depends on how they implement it. It's just something to do in the back, or for me it's not something that I'm going to actively hunt down, unless like that light machine gun is a thing that's heavily tied to it. I can't imagine. I say this, I can't imagine that it would be, but it probably is. And
Probably just be a silly quest.
yeah, or like you have to do like 4 runs of the Verdant Forest and you get it. Something along those lines. But yeah, I don't know. It's finding your own fun in between what they're trying to kind of steer you towards is a pressure point in Destiny right now. And this, while it's fun and lighthearted for the most part, it's modeled after the Olympics. I don't know what the draw is outside of, hey, there's this fun thing.
Would you rather have events like this, or would you rather have content? Like, we're talking about resources now. The Verdant Forest is something that exists somewhere in the background because it's been part of the game for a while. But would you rather have some form of content, whether it be a chunk of story? I mean, this took resources.
Yeah.
Even if you just unplug it and plug it back in, there's some form of resources that are tied to this, whether it's the art staff working on what's going to change inside the tower, whether it's the art team working on the armor and the class item and whatnot. Like, this is taking up some form of time for Bungie in terms of their creative staff.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth the return on investment for an event like this being tied to? And I'm not sure if it's free to play, right? I don't know what the paid content
this
is
is free to play.
season.
This is free
Right,
to play. The paid content is the
Emote.
is the what?
There's like an emote, I think. There's one emote tied to it.
Yeah.
That's
No, like, what's the
Eververse.
paid content for this season? Like, when by buying this season, what did you actually get that was paid for? The Grandmaster Nightfall?
Wouldn't that be the bunkers? The bunkers
Yeah.
and the
The
Grandmasters?
bunkers.
That story content that came in.
Interesting.
So
It's like the season before too with the
yeah. So
because I don't know any free to play players, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the the work that's done to create new fun festive things, but when there's a blatant lack of something else that could maybe be filled, or at least partially filled, I have a hard time understanding why some of the extras are getting having this attention when the paid content is so lacking.
If there was, so imagine like instead of this event, maybe you get a 0 hour or whisper style mission that happens on the Almighty before it blows up. And you go up, you take on a Cabal Colossus, you do all the puzzles, jumping puzzle and everything. The final boss is a Cabal Colossus, and you were to beat it and take that weapon as your own. That to me would be more rewarding in the long run, unless like it's kind of involved in order to get that weapon. I would much rather have content than kind of short little things like this, because right now Destiny is a lot of short little segmented areas for you to go and do things without much reward at the moment.
And I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I'm not sure that Bungie's giving us stuff. I think it's on purpose.
Okay.
It feels like ever since they went to free to play, they slowed us down to try to get more people to play the game and let them catch up to us because of power creep. Because we're so far ahead of a new light player, it's ridiculous. Like there's no way. So I think they're trying to incentivize them to want to play the game. That way, come fall, if they have a big release, they're caught up. They want to play the game. They want to spend money, and then maybe the content starts to speed back up. I don't know, but
I don't know if I agree with that though, because if I just play the game, my postmaster's overflowing.
Yeah.
Like the amount of loot that is thrown at you by you can't go through a patrol area and not have some form of engram drop from some ad you didn't even look at, the way that the game creates loot for you. So the power creep thing is difficult for me to understand because there's just so much stuff that you acquire by just existing in the ecosystem. Now, you could make the case for power level 1000 to 1010 or 1010 being a thing, but like even then your powerful drops scale to your base gear score. So even then you're still experiencing some form of a leveling boost. Yeah,
that leveling wise, but I'm thinking more like stuff wise, like how much of that stuff actually matters. Like when was the last time you got something you were like, ooh, let me look at the roll, or you just went, delete, and delete, because like there's a lot of stuff that doesn't matter, and there's a lot of stuff that does matter. Because every time I do a raid, especially with a newer player, I have to go back and do a whisper. I have to go back. I have to help them maybe get a recluse. I have to help because they have so much stuff, but none of it matters. So I don't know if they're trying to help us catch them up, and they don't know what to do, and they've got content backware somewhere, and they don't want to just throw it at us.
Specific weapons that are useful for engagement. So the fact that I'm getting 18 million trackless waste doesn't matter because the gun is absolute dog, absolute crap. So I understand that aspect of things, and some members of the community were voicing those concerns today. We had new players come back, say, I haven't played since whatever. What am I supposed to be out here hunting for? And it does go back to a lot of the pinnacle weapons, the ritual weapons, or whatever you want to call them, from seasons past. But there are, relatively speaking, so you might not kill an ad in 0.3 seconds. You might kill it in 0.5 seconds if you've got a reckless oracle, or you know what I mean? So like, while I understand the value in going back and getting some of the older gear that's really strong, weapons that are one tier below are still going to be just as usable. And I don't think it's going to cost many people in game that much in terms of DPS strats and waiting. Like you can make a case for Guard of Salvation boss, because Bungie did everything that they possibly could to make that thing take 3 phases or 4 phases to finish now, where only like god tier players are getting it done in a 2 phase at this point. But
like in our experience, we have people to play with. Like, we've been around a long time. If you go in LFG and you don't have XYZ, you're not raiding. If you go into LFG and try to do a master nightmare hunt right now as a new light player and you don't have XYZ, you're not playing that content. People aren't going to help you. And that's kind of a problem. I can pin it on the community, but it's also because the way, like you said, Bungie keeps tailoring, use these guns and only these guns. Good luck.
Right.
But only these guns. These are the only things that are ever going to work. So.
Yeah. It's
I wish they would bring back vendor roles and let us like use
Yeah.
other things to get things that we kind of want.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know.
I mean, Menagerie. Menagerie is probably the greatest resource right now for powerful weaponry.
Great event.
Quick. The thing about New Light players, they might not have the runes to go in and farm for stuff.
Right.
That's the thing about.
Right.
Is that
I do the best I can to try to help them, like the ones that I can grab, but I'm only one person. And there are a lot of people out there that are helping, but there's also a lot of people that are not
dogpiling on top to get out of the way.
Yeah, they're just it's two split community. You have some really nice, awesome people out there, but then you also have some really terrible people out there, like
the
any
people
other game.
that comment and the people that comment on like the direct relief stuff, being like, "Fix your game."
Yeah, how do we get the New Light player to play with more of the people over here that are going to help them and make them want to play the game and invest money and spend time on it versus, they play a couple games over here. Oh, I can't do anything. This game sucks. I'll go play something else. And then they fall off and then they don't play again. And then that's one less player we have that would have spent money that gives Bungie money to give us stuff. Because I don't know what their operating budget is and I'm not a developer. So I don't know anything. I just play the game.
To me, if it were to encourage veteran players to help, to encourage them to help more with maybe the New Light community, they'd have to add rewards that veteran players would want.
Right.
And this goes back to like Guardian games as well, or not Guardian games, but guided games.
Oh.
So that would be a priority on that chain. If you're like, hey guys, there's not going to be much for you to do if you're at this light level, but maybe here's an incentive to help out with New Light. I mean, they even did that with
Refer a friend.
Yeah, they did that with Refer a Friend.
It was a cool idea, but you had to like be friends and link your accounts, and I never bothered with it. I helped one person like a little bit, and it was just so complicated. It wasn't worth the like Sparrow.
Yeah.
Like I was like, they didn't want to play anymore anyways, and I just kind of. But they do need to give better rewards for people to come down and play, down here and help people get here. The more people we have up here, the better, because look at the trials problem, right?
Let me ask you this. You matchmake into an activity, and it's obvious that your teammates have absolutely no clue what's going on. It could be Menagerie, it could be a Nightfall at 970. Are you annoyed, or are you more inclined to, whether it's pick up the slack or try and communicate, to try and get more effectiveness out of them? Like, I've been, and I fully admit this, I have been in situations where I'm so annoyed with my match-made teammates that it drives me up a wall, and I need to reverse that thinking, because maybe there's a chance that they just don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing that gets me is like they'll have some form of a title on. They'll have Wayfarer, they'll have Dredgen. Like I'll be in Gambit with Dredgens who are clearly just going for a Sunday stroll. You know what I mean? So like
I'll type in chat. I'll ask. I'll type in chat, but I mean 9 times out of 10 that goes sideways so fast.
Yeah, I don't.
You'll say something and you get a big FU and a whole bunch of typing in the chat, and you're just like, okay, that's whatever. Like, I can't help. Those are the people over here we were talking about earlier. Like, I don't know what their thinking is. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I want more people to play the game, not the other way around.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me.
I don't think I'm annoyed with the blueberries. If anything, I think I'm more of the player that tries to pick up the slack in most cases, but I don't know how many people are like me versus like annoyed with the team to the point where they're not communicating. You know what I mean?
So
I'm annoyed.
Well,
yeah.
Let's leave the PvP community out of this. As the lead PvP member of the podcast, I can just tell you that we're a lost cause and we're not worth talking to. Like, just we'll take our super to orbit. we'll take it. We'll save our super till Christmas rather than try and use it to win it. And I just can't explain that. I'm not gonna try.
Yeah, that's where I get annoyed. That's the only time I like PvE. I don't know. Maybe it's just because PvE doesn't have rewards. It's like, well, if you don't finish, we don't finish. Well, like I'm just here to do a thing. If I don't do it, do it again. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So I queued into so I'm still getting caught up on my Ecdysis lore book, which is the lore book from the Invitations of the Nine, because I never did it.
Yeah, same.
And so every time you go and grab it, you got to do a strike that has a specific enemy race boss, and you got to kill certain enemy types.
Yeah.
And so this week I had one where I had to go and kill like a hive boss in a raid, and like, or I'm sorry, in a strike. And so I went and did the brood.
Right. Broodhold.
So I queue into the Broodhold, which is on the Tangled Shore, because it was a strike on the Tangled Shore that had to be a hive boss, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I forgot that even existed. So I queue in, and the blueberry is in the Lost Sector, where you spawn in a public, the public loading zone next to Spider. I forget what it's called, but he's in a Lost Sector, which is a full geographical location over from where you spawn in for the strike.
Mm-hmm.
And I spawn in and I'm on that person in this Lost Sector, and I have to complete this strike in order to finish this quest line to get my lore book. So I got to jump out of the Lost Sector, get on my Sparrow Drive all the way across. And so I was getting so annoyed at the fact that this dude was farming. I don't know what he was working on.
Yeah. Was it the Lost Sector with the hive boss?
No, it was the Scorn. He was in there. There's no hive boss Lost Sector, I don't think, on the Tangled Shore, and it didn't count if there was. It had to be a strike.
Okay.
For whatever reason, it had to be a strike.
Yeah, that's the only other one. Yeah.
So like that in and of itself made me like, what are you actually doing that you're in a strike in a Lost Sector?
Mm-hmm.
They might have been working on their emblem kills, because there's a bajillion solar arc, whatever kills you have to get for the emblem.
I don't know, but I got really annoyed and pulled him forward and gave him the big old, F-bomb in like, dude, like, what are you doing here? I got things I gotta get done. And the thing is, I tried to leave and queue on a different strike, because maybe he was working on something, and I didn't want to interrupt it. Maybe they're working on grenade launcher kills in a strike, because maybe that was something for fighting Lion or for whatever. I don't know. But every time I queued back into the Broodhold, it was the same group.
Oh my god!
I couldn't find another set of players to play.
Oh no!
Only them. Oh.
See, with console, it's a little bit better, because at least if I ran into that situation, it'd be like, well, I'm just gonna roll the time back a few months on my console and get my own instance that nobody else can get into.
Yeah.
That's pretty perfect to do. But
that's another thing I'll type in the chat, like, what are you working on? And if they don't respond, then I'll go forward and jump off the map and pull them.
Yeah.
If they do respond, I just let them be, because once you get to the boss, they get pulled anyways.
Yeah.
So
that's what I did. So the thing was, it was Hive. You had to kill Hive on the Tangled Shore in a strike to get whatever the thing was to advance the quest line. You couldn't just kill Hive on the Tangled Shore. You had to kill Hive in a strike.
Right.
So I got all the things done and left. After I wiped and pulled them to the boss, then I left. Because I'm a dick like that. I'm the PvP guy. I'm a dick like that.
Yeah.
So I pulled them and then I left.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, there would have to be something in the rewards for veteran players, and if there were the case. Make it.
What? Like, there's no more gear left to create. Bungie can't make any more weapons. They can't make any more perks. We're at a point where they have to retire old stuff so that the perks that were on old stuff that are good can be applied to new weapons. Because the only way that they can keep going, I firmly believe that Bungie's going to run out of ideas to make weapons that are really good in this game. The perks, because the only perks that are worth a damn are Rampage kill clip, multi kill clip. There's a little bit of Vorpals getting some action right now. Overflow has been really valuable because it gives you 20-something hand cannon shots on overflow with depending on which hand cannon you're running. We're running out of perks, right? So like at the point at which they're giving us guns is I just feel like they're running low on stock.
Yeah.
So what cosmetics can they give veteran players that they're going to care about? We can only wear one emblem.
Right. I would have to think that it would be gear that had high gear scores attached to it.
They took half our trackers too, so it's kind of.
You're just going to run into recovs and people doing dopey things to get it done, though. The Destiny community is lazy. They'll find the shortest path to get the reward done that they possibly can.
But we already have that. So like
Was
at
it-
the same point, like maybe that's not so much an issue as it is like a benefit. Does that make sense?
Wasn't it last week they were talking about maybe having something that lets us add to our armor, like add to a stat permanently, like a consumable we can dump? Was that last week you guys were
Oh, I don't
talking about
remember
that?
reading. Oh,
it's
yeah,
Tier
last week we were
brought
talking
that
about that on Grandmasters. We were talking.
I
We
feel
were
like
talking about
that would
that.
be an intriguing option, or maybe even something like let us re-roll our guns. Let us re-roll a
Yeah.
stat. Give us like a thing that just lets us re-roll that one stat. Because
Yeah,
if you gave me like a token that I could re-roll one stat on a weapon or armor piece, then I
like
would
a part of
grind
the
for
tree.
hours. Yeah, if you just let me like re-roll my weapon stats, like
Mhm.
give me some sort of menagerie style thing where I could take this thing, go do an activity, and then dump a weapon into like a forge and just redo it. And if
Yeah.
it sucks, do it again. Because
Yeah.
I know a lot of veteran players, like we have almost perfect rolls. We have a
Mhm.
thing that we really like, but we hate this one stupid thing on it, but we're not going to get rid of it because it's close enough and we don't feel like grinding for it, spare rations anymore.
That's my mind benders. Well, like assault mag or accurized rounds would make it a 5 out of 5 roll, but I'm not willing to wager the entire roll on
Even
one.
if you just the one tree, if you just re-roll the one
Right.
stat tree. Like, I don't like this one tree. Click it, send it, and then it
Yeah.
re-rolls and gives you two random things. And it might be the same thing again, knowing Bungie probably. But I mean, how many times did you get a spare rations and you're like, this is okay, this is good, this is, and I can't use this gun because this one thing is just not even close.
Yeah.
And you grind for 7 more hours for one more
I
spare
feel like
ration.
that would require like a from the ground up framework change that wouldn't add enough value to make it worth it
Yeah.
for Bungie.
That kind of thing feels like a pre-fall expansion kind of deal.
Just add more stuff to Menagerie.
Yeah. I think that's part of the answer for me. It's just like,
Menagerie is it is so good.
yeah.
It's
Hasapico.
still so good.
Yeah. The bosses are good. The bosses, I think, are some of the most fun encounters in the game. Hasapico, when he
Still
throws
die
the
to that
walls at
wall.
you,
I can't. The people who die to that, it's a wall.
it's a wall.
It's a wall.
It is a wall.
All you got to do is move.
Move from the wall.
You just got to move. You just
Remove yourself from the wall. Do
Yeah.
not die.
don't let the wall hit you. The freaking wall. It's a
But-
wall.
It's a fun, like, do you remember, like, seeing that the first time?
Oh, I shit my pants.
Yeah, and just be like,
Yeah.
what?
Did he just throw a wall at
He
me?
threw a wall? Everybody's scrambling. Yeah,
Now,
that was fun.
people keep telling me that Vicarious Visions did Menagerie, though, and that it wasn't Bungie who did it.
That sounds right. I think that season was one of the last that they worked on. If I'm to remember correctly.
I'm not sure.
So
It
I don't
just
know.
makes me wonder if that, like, does Bungie have the capabilities? Do they have the framework in place to mess with it? Is it as simple as flicking a switch and swapping out a loot pool? And if they did, what
Yeah.
would go into it? Like, and then at that point, depending on what they put in that loot pool, it would become the most played activity. Like if they took spare rations from Gambit Prime, that player population goes to 0, almost immediately goes down to nothing, and the entire player population that wants to farm spare rations goes directly into Menagerie and farms it over and over again. I don't think that like tier 1 weaponry should be something that's in there. I think it should be tier 2. But
Yeah.
Oh, Beloved's in there.
Yeah.
Beloved, the Callus mini tool is
Walking
actually an
Vigil.
exceptional weapon that nobody really utilizes very much because of Recluse, but Callus mini tool is very good.
Right.
Walking Vigil's in there. Walking Vigil's really good.
That's that kind of came up when Astral Horizon and Eye of Soul and whatnot really started to come into forefront. You really started to see a lot more of Waking Vigil in the player pool when kinetic special weapons that were usable kind of started to surface. It's been a while since we had one that was new that was very good.
I've been running into a lot of Astral Horizon, Waking Vigil players lately in Crucible.
Yeah. But yeah, so moving on from there, we have this week, so this past week, Bungie has been raising money for direct relief and giving out the Guardian's Heart emblem to anybody who donates to the direct relief Tiltify for the Bungie bounties that they are running. It just so happens that a team here will be running tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m., aka 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific. Myself, Iceman, and our boss Moon being the one who's going to be streaming here, she will be pushing the live button, and people will be hunting her in the mountain region. You can get the emblem for doing that. Or you can get the D2 Year 3 Bungie Bounty emblem from beating us or winning with us. And you can get the Guardian's Heart emblem by donating $20 or more to the Tiltify during that time. They've raised about $600,000 so far.
They're accepting donations lower than $20 too, by the way. You won't get the emblem, but you're going to be doing what you possibly can do to help the front lines fight this virus. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Bungie. Thank you for doing it. Huge. Yeah. Of course, you guys always kill it. Dead Game raises over $600,000 so far for relief. Like, hello? Like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Way to go, community. Well done.
Absolutely.
And, we're coming for you, Dan. Lightrazor and I
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Just so everyone's aware.
My booty is on the line.
If I do it, I don't even care.
I asked if I could bag my friends and have been told no. So, if you see me accidentally slide and forget to dodge, then
that's what it was.
I'm not saying that's what it was. Plausible deniability here, but
that's how my friends hug me. Like, if they don't bag me in the Crucible, I kind of get mad. Like, you didn't notice me, dude? When you shot me and killed me?
It's friendship. So, I don't know. But yeah, so that should be fun. That's coming up tomorrow. Do you guys have anything else to talk before we get into the questions?
I'm good.
No.
All right. Cool. So getting into community questions, Rob is the Shiz asks, would people be okay instead of getting a new seasonal activity? Bungie just did vendor refreshes, brought Leviathan raids and Last Wish up to being worth doing at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, we're probably going to see something like that with the Solstice of Heroes event coming up this summer, where things are going to be brought forward. The big question is, like, why does power level matter? Why is it important?
Yeah.
It would be beneficial for some people getting caught up that maybe they'd get a loot pool in a raid that isn't just special weapons. But
yeah,
the answer is yeah. I mean, that would be neat.
Yeah, that's what Age of Triumph was, pretty much.
Right. It was every raid that was brought forward. Was it a weekly rotation on the raid itself? I forget.
It was a weekly rotation until all of them had been featured.
Right. It was a featured raid, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of how they're doling out Grandmasters at this point. But like, yeah, every one of them was featured, and then you could go back and pick whichever one you wanted to do.
Something like that's probably coming.
Yeah.
I hope so, because featured raids are good for older players to help newer players do stuff. Because me, SOS, forget it. I hate that raid because of the problems it has.
A lot of people hate that raid.
But I will begrudgingly help somebody, but it would feel a lot better if it was a featured raid and I was getting, pinnacles or something out of it. Even if it's just weapons that are garbage that I could just pinnacle burn.
Well, that's the only way to get the callus, whatever, emoji, the
emote. Yeah.
And what, the Sleeper Catalyst and the Skyburners Catalyst come from Spire of Stars and Spire of Stars only?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Sounds right.
Can't believe it's been this long and they still haven't released those to other activities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I got them, I basically don't go in there unless somebody's really looking for somebody to get help. Then I'll go in, but it's the whole time I'm gritting my teeth.
Yeah.
Skyburners
is OG Leviathan. is what Jin
Interesting.
says.
I have really bad RNG then.
Yeah. I think I only have 2 clears of Crown of Sorrow or 1 clear of Crown of Sorrow. And,
Ever?
Yeah. And 2 clears of Spire of...
My Spire
Stars.
count's pretty low.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that raid. Once I understood what was going on, I actually think that Spire is a really good raid.
Yeah.
People who are mechanic fans will enjoy it too.
Yeah.
People who hate mechanics will never, ever do that raid. Ever.
I don't know.
I don't
like,
mind the
I enjoyed
mechanics.
King's Fall.
Yeah, I love King's Fall.
I think Spire has infinitely more, especially like the stage before the final. Was it the stage before, or like you got to jump through the smoke and you got to stand on the thing and you got to clear the thing and you got to pass the balls to one another so the timer doesn't expire. You got to jump up and you got to spy on the thing. Like, dude, holy, there's so many different things going on. And like, I know, like an ESO player is gonna think like, oh, dude, it's not even a raid. You're such an idiot. Like, for Destiny players, like that is some shit.
Yeah.
Man. Like PTSD shit in that raid, and I enjoyed it. I actually like Spire. I'd run it more if I had the people that would want to do it. I thought it was a pretty good raid.
But, yeah. Well, the problems that we always have are like the last encounter. There's a lot of really weird bugs with it, and I play with people from like Europe and stuff. And
the ping,
it doesn't line up, and you got to finish it, and you do everything right, and it doesn't work. For some reason or another, it's fine otherwise. And I would hope that bringing them forward and making them featured and having more people playing would incentivize Bungie to go, all right, this is a problem. Can we fix it now? Yeah. Whereas now they're just like, we're not going to fix that for 5 people. You don't care. Yeah. So.
Yeah. They have said that like season 11 is in, if you remember the Vidoc or the Vidoc, however you pronounce it. If you remember that, they say that season 11, the story now will go into season 11, which is something that we haven't seen in Destiny to this point, which I don't think it would be an Age of Triumph type deal because we've seen that before. But I don't know. Yeah, I think bringing back those raids to a prestige or to a pinnacle level would entice more people into them. I can't remember what rewards are great out of each of those raids. You'd have to update the loot pool too to also be random rolls on.
So the loot pool for Leviathan was spread between the 3 different layers.
Yeah.
So like the shotgun wasn't available in certain. I think the shotgun was one of the key drop factors. I think for
Spire, right?
I don't know if it was Spire, if it was Eater of Worlds. I think it was Eater of Worlds where the shotgun came. But regardless of that,
yeah.
There's still weapons out of Leviathan that are good. Like Inaugural Address is still a good pulse rifle.
Midnight too.
The Alone is God is still a good sniper rifle. The shotgun's probably still pretty good.
Yeah.
Although there's a million different rapid fire frames, and it has one of the most unique sounds of any shotgun I've ever heard.
Okay.
But, the thing that I like, what about Crown of Sorrow made you not run it? Crown of Sorrow is actually a pretty great raid.
I don't know. I think I think it was general apathy at that time, like toward the raid, and was just like, I'll get around to it, or I won't. I'll just play Menagerie. That's pretty rewarding. And
it's hard to get a Crown group. It really is hard to get a group because so many people hate the first encounter of Crown. They're just like, I don't want to do that.
It takes 8 years to do that for
Shadow's like, what is it? Harbinger was the most rare title.
Yeah.
Or was it Shadow? It was one of the two. And
Harbinger was for a while.
It's always astonishing to me as a player who has both of the titles that Shadow would be so far behind. Well, I guess back in the day when it first launched, the Emperor's Courtesy had like a 0% drop rate. And there were certain things that only dropped from certain encounters. Now I think the loot pool is spread across all the encounters, but I enjoy Crown. I think I still have to do it for the armor set for my Titan.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to run a Crown, I'll run it. I enjoy that raid.
Same.
I might call you. I might call you guys up.
I ran a bunch of them for Terrabot because it was my last exotic. So
yeah,
I don't mind it.
Still don't have Anarchy.
Still don't have Anarchy. Whoa.
I also hate Scourge of the Past.
Yeah, I run Scourge of the Past.
I despise that raid.
Fair enough.
Run that pretty regularly, so maybe we'll trade a Crown for a Scourge. That cool?
I'm down.
All right, cool.
Fair
Jack
trade.
Raid trade! Jackalhog, how many people here would buy Destiny 1 if it were released on PC?
Depends on the price.
Yeah.
Like, I get the rose-colored glasses and D1 was so great, this, that, the other thing. And, like, the thing about having it on PC, seeing what that game looked like at 60-plus frames,
Yeah.
max resolution, seeing the garden... I can't imagine what Atheon and the Vault of Glass looks like with that kind of, like, beauty behind it. The animation of the enemies and whatnot. But I'm not going to sit here, blow smoke, and tell everybody that Destiny 1 was this perfect game and it was so good and like, we're in such bad dire straits right now. Like, how much is it? It's $10 for a remastered PC port? Sure. $75, $100. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I'd pay $30-$40. That'd probably be my top end before I wait for it to go down.
Yeah, I think 30 is a good price range.
I just want to play some of the stuff on a mouse and a keyboard, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I never had a Zim. I didn't have any of that. And controllers, fine. I have no problem with people that like controllers, but I enjoy mouse and keyboard, fluidity of movement. I just want to be able to go back and do some things like King's Fall with a mouse and keyboard would be so sick. For me, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even if it was cartoony graphics, I don't care.
Well, and they would have to add, they would have to, like Jen in chat says sprint cancel. They would have to take that out. They would have to give you some form of mantling.
Or you have to have that artifact to take away sprint canceling, don't you?
Yeah, and so they would have to do some updates to it. I'm fine with it on console for the time being. It came out, like, we're in year 6 of Destiny as a whole. I'm if it didn't come out until next console generation, I'd be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine if it didn't, but it'd be nice if it did. Well, either way.
Yeah.
If it did, they'd have to take away. They'd almost have to like take away cross save.
Yeah.
And just make a start from scratch. I wouldn't even care because I play Destiny 1 right now. I play with like Pale Rider.
Your Tuesday bud.
We play Destiny 1 from time to time. It's fun. It's just I'm not a console player anymore, so it's kind of weird for me.
Yeah. So they'd also have to take cues from like World of Warcraft. How the implementation of that too.
Destiny Classic.
Oh, buddy. Radaka asks, so with this leak about the fall expansion, do you think it's legit? And if it is, what do you guys feel about the content it lays out? Anybody want to tackle that one?
I don't think it's legit.
I don't think it's legit either.
I don't think it's going to be 100% far-fetched, but I don't think it's going to be 100% accurate either. What does Bungie have to lose by letting the universe come crashing down on us?
Yeah.
Other than taking away my Aaron Tiller, taking away our vault, like goddamn it, Bungie. But like other than that, what do they have to lose? We've been in this content drought, like this substantial in-depth content drought since Forsaken.
Yeah.
Even Shadowkeep didn't really have. It had some depth to it.
Yeah.
But it didn't have the same gravity that Shadowkeep really offered. So like we talk about this like 4 different times. Today's stream was really long. We talked about it 4 different times, how good Bungie is at telling a story and how they refuse to do it in game. The lore books are exceptional. They are so good, and nobody knows anything about them. I shouldn't say nobody. A lot of people don't know anything about it because they don't want to read a 7-page
got the book
tab on a computer screen. Right. So like
yeah.
I'm hoping I continue to hope and pray that Bungie is able to tell the story that they really want to tell in the game itself.
Yeah. See, so this season, and when we started talking about this season, when it was the almighty like speed comparison, was just like, yeah, the story is speed. It's just told over like 9 months so far. We didn't know about these ships coming in. That kind of story, I feel like they are trying to tell stories inside the game, like especially with the triangle ships. Like last week we got the quote unquote cutscene with Zavala and Rasputin saying, "Hey, let's be buds," and they're like, "Okay, cool." But now we have that board on the side on Io, at least, where it shows the triangle ships coming in, and it's
all 3.
Yeah.
It's in the moon too, but there's like a hive patch covering it.
Yeah.
I needed to try for you to clear all 3 bunkers in
Yeah,
one day,
yeah.
so I did all 3 bunkers. You can see the Doritos in all 3 of them, but with the hive, there's actually like a nest. on the
Okay.
one.
So they're trying to tell these stories. They're trying to tell more world evolving stories, but it's weird which ones they pick. And maybe if this is one that goes to fruition through September, then it's a success payoff wise. Would you guys agree? Disagree?
My concern is we're gearing Rasputin to fight these Doritos or whatever the hell is coming the almighty. Who's to say that the end of this is just a cutscene where Rasputin blows it up and we don't actually participate in anything as Guardians? Like,
Yeah.
What's our role in this? What are we doing?
Yeah.
So, but no, I don't want to watch Doritos come to the planet until September, dude. Like, no. Like, that needs to happen in the next couple of weeks. That we can't go back to these bunkers and look at this thing for
another 3 months.
for 3 months.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. What about you, Z?
The same. Like,
Yeah.
when they started talking about the things moving already, I was like, it's April.
Yeah.
We've got how many months until September? Like, how are we supposed to? We're already running out of stuff to do, like you said, and we're not gonna stare at a wall.
Yeah.
for 5 months.
That's literally what we're doing. We're staring at a wall.
Yeah, I have a hard enough time getting like amped up about something I don't understand. Going back to the lore thing, that
Yeah.
like the stories like here. I get lore. I'm one of those people. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. Click my triumph, move on with my life, because it doesn't give me a reason to be invested in the story beyond the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me. And a lot of people are like me, where we're just like, we try to read some of the lore and it's all over the place, and we're just like, I'll just go watch a bite video. Like I'm
Or the lore tab is a conversation between 2 people, but it doesn't tell you who it is and who's talking, and it's just like
it's confusing
right.
for me. Yeah. So
I forget what lore tab it was, but there was one where they talked about a guardian and a fallen captain were fighting against the hive until they were both out of ammo, and at the very end, like the captain knew it was going to die and came over and tried to stab the guardian. But the guardian killed. It was a Cade's lore.
Yeah, it was
that's
Cade's
one that
lore.
always kind of That's one that always kind of sticks with me.
That's the darkness was coming, and the captain and Cade were like they saw each other, but their enemy was the darkness, right? So they fought against the darkness, and they got along in that moment. It's kind of like more like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation.
Right.
But the captain had to try. I think maybe it was wounded or something, and Cade was kind of taking pity on it, but it had to try in order to like for Cade to put it out of its misery, if I remember that correctly. I could be remembering that wrong.
Was that a D1 lore tab? Like I remember reading some of these things back in D1. I remember that being one that stuck with me out of the ones that I've read.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. The story's great. They just need to tell more of it.
Tell it.
Yeah.
Tell it.
And tell the important stuff in game.
I thought the cutscenes related to the bunkers were really good. I just didn't want to wait a week or 3 weeks or 2, whatever the hell it was, to get it.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks. The last one was really good, but then now what?
It's Rasputin and Zavala being like, you're not so bad. And Rasputin's like, yeah, I know, man. I'm pretty cool.
Yeah. And yeah.
Let me show you something. Bad guys.
Yeah, I built a wall.
Yeah.
And I even put a thing on here that I didn't know was coming.
Barry asks the final question of the evening. Would 3D stuff that you could put on your armor, like in D1 Age of Triumph, be a cool reward for Sherpa Guardians? Going back to our conversation earlier. Do you think that would be enough?
Yeah, for me, it would keep me busy for a little while, because I was the guy that you see running around in D1 with like green horns sticking off in every possible direction.
Yeah.
So I would 100% deck out all my guys if like I got a token for helping people, or maybe any other activities like that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I worry
If they
the
have the
cosmetics are
resources.
never going to have the value that they had in like the nostalgia. So like in D1, when you beat Crota and you landed at the tower with was it Glowhoo?
Yeah.
Yes.
The reaction that you got in the tower being one of the, first, I don't know, 100 or 200 Guardians to beat that raid was like, oh my God, dude, congratulations, yo, that's so cool. And now we get these 24-hour emblems and the reaction is like, meh.
Yeah.
So like, the question I would turn back to Barry would be like, is that something that matters to you, or is that something you're trying to show off to matter to other people to show that you are willing to help? Like,
Yeah.
where does the value for you come into play? Because I don't know that everybody salute and everybody praise thing exists anymore.
Yeah. I don't see, and that goes back to just overall reward. It like having, if we had ornaments that were like that, maybe not so much gear for guided games that showed that you were helpful, and
Title?
like, yeah, or like something like that. Yeah.
Can only wear
Like-
one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the rewards in the game, you can only use one. I mean, Shader's the only thing you can have different types of on your armor set. Who the hell knows what the watch is?
Yeah.
There's 4 colors, but sometimes a 5th one magically appears on your gear. But it's like you can only use one title. You can only wear one emblem. And so like those things. I mean, how many emblems do you have that are actually like fruitful emblems that you don't wear because of that?
I only
Yeah.
wear my charity ones, really.
I wear my Wing of the Crow
Yeah.
almost exclusively.
I
Yeah.
wear all the different Bungie charity ones and the weird ones like that. I don't really any of the in-game ones, especially once they wiped all of our trackers. I
Mhm.
just basically stopped using other emblems because
I mean,
I
long
use-
short of it, the answer I think is yes. Like, yeah, that would be cool. That would be great. But like, how much of it would you actually be able to display?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still wear, on my hunter, I still wear the emblem that I got for doing Shattered Throne or like solo. I still wear that one because that
The
means
black one.
something to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I just use the charity emblems as they go through. But cosmetically, it wouldn't, for a cosmetic reward from something like that, it would have to be like a sign that, yes, I'm willing to help, more so than, hey, look at this thing I got, which I don't know how you'd weigh that versus the activity and make that activity rewarding for that in a way that would make people want to say, hey, yeah, I did 100 of these guided games runs of Last Wish, full runs of Last Wish, not just Last Encounter, for this emblem, and now like it, when I'm wearing it, that means I'm down to help. That means I'm free to message. I don't think that there's anything behind that other than individual reward.
Most things in the game are like that though. Like
Yeah. So
people tell you look at this thing and you're just like, well, cool.
yeah. I mean, I like the idea of like of giving stuff specifically for guided games and for clans, and I've talked about that in the past, like having a clan shader and armor set, because it really doesn't mean anything outside of it, right? Outside of just, hey, I'm a part of this group.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
The Sherpa title would be nice. Just
Yeah.
that there's a lot of titles I would probably wear Sherpa if I could get it. If it was
Yeah.
a title that existed, I would totally wear that. Like right now, all I wear is Reckoner because I worked my butt off to get it.
Yeah.
Man,
So.
that was that was an experience. That title.
Yep. That's the only title I wear basically now. I don't have any raid titles. Even with all my helps and clears and everything, I still have yet to get one of those.
Yeah.
And even when I get one, I probably will still wear Reckoner because Reckoner's was just so god awful, painful. Just every angry, sweaty moment of Gambit that I played is summarized in that title.
Yeah.
I don't see it too often, so it's mine.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it.
So other than that, that was our final question. You guys good to wrap this up?
Yes.
All right. Cool. Well, let's start with Zaraeleus. Sir, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm everywhere. So my channel is my name. It's just Zaraeleus. It's actually my middle name, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, it's my middle name.
What was the process behind that with your parents? That's pretty rad.
My dad was a big history buff, so
Okay.
Marcus Aurelius, and he just made his own name. And I
Freaking
passed that
sweet.
off on my daughter with Aurelia, so now she's stuck with a horrible, hard to pronounce, very difficult to spell middle name. Good luck to her.
More unique
So-
than terrible. I think that's a beautiful name.
Oh, it's an awesome name. So I love my middle name, but
Yeah.
I'm an extra life streamer. That's
Excellent.
my primary mode. That's 90% of what I do is charity streaming. I don't really do much more than PvE mostly, help people with stuff, play little odd games, but I keep wandering back into the pit that is Destiny no matter how much I pretend I hate it. So
Cool. So that's on your channel, and
yeah,
you're
my
here on.
social media is all the same. I don't have an Instagram because I'm a little older than I look. Every time I play with Instagram, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't understand. I have Twitter.
Yeah.
I do a lot of twittering, but Twitter and Twitch. Those are 2 easy ways to find me.
That's
or if you
awesome.
see me in the tower, you just
Say
you
hey,
know,
drop you a
wave,
line.
dance. If you see me in the
That's cool.
Crucible, try to hug me. I'll hug you back.
So you're on Tuesdays here on the channel
Correct.
as well, correct? From what time?
Tuesdays, 4 Eastern to 7, and then Pale Rider, he rolls right in after me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening and for joining the team. It's been a pleasure to have you. Aura, where can people find you on the internet?
Sorry about taking a month off of like everything. If you guys are out there listening, my wife is a doctor. My wife works in Philadelphia's #1 trauma center. So as you can imagine, what's been going on in the world has pulled us away from the Twitcherverse and gaming in general. So we're back so long as IRL allows it. I got to keep up with a lot of things around the house to make sure that we're both safe. But I try to get back as often as I can. Twitch.tv/Aura. You can find me on Twitter. Twitter.com/evilaura, 3VIL_AURA. I'm also on Instagram because I'm as old as I look. I am definitely as old as I look, and I still mess with Instagram though. If you need help, Z, I got you, buddy. If you want any pointers, I can help you out with that.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how it works. Like I go to put a
it's
picture
fine.
and I'm like, cool, it's gone. Now I can't find it.
Yep. No, that's it. You just let
Twitter,
it go
it's
into the
like
void.
there. Like Twitter is. Oof.
You'll kind of catch me all over the Destiny universe as time goes on. We big chillin', that's our new thing. We play some lo-fi music and we just kind of vibe out doing whatever.
Hell yeah.
Menagerie was yesterday. Today we played 7 hours of Crucible. Tuesday we're gonna be back and I haven't put together a thought process for Tuesday yet. But we typically do reset day stuff with Robotic Addy, so we'll see if
Hell yeah.
maybe actually hit her up and get back in action with Addy over there. But you guys, links are in chat. Links will be in the description on YouTube, and if you're listening via any other place, I guess you're just gonna have to do the damn work yourself.
Yeah. I tried updating the podcast notes earlier so that it would have individual links for everybody just embedded into the notes. Not happening. I don't know.
You type Zaraeleus in a Google search and it's going to be me.
Instantly you.
I've never seen anyone else using that name. If I run into like anytime I hit a website where it says the username is not available, I'm like, well, damn, what's my password?
That's awesome. Well, you can find me, Danfinity, all of the internet, twitch.tv/Danfinity, where the I's are I's, and Twitter and Instagram, where the I's are L's. You can also find me tomorrow during the Bungie Bounty. I will be streaming on my own personal channel, but Moonvald will be here on the PD Twitch channel, twitch.tv/planet_destiny, from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific. If you're on the Mountain Time Zone, you probably have the best chances of teaming up against us, but I will be joined by Iceman and Moonvald. We will be taking on all of you for the Bungie Bounty come get those sweet emblems and give to a good cause. Outside of that, I had Anna Braytek on this past week's episode of SideQuest Sunday. The man behind the Anna Braytek account. So go give that a listen. You can find that wherever podcasts are available. And I think that's the end of the show. So thank you guys for listening to episode 236 of the Planet Destiny podcast. And I hope you find what you're grinding for.